Hi and welcome to my channel. If you've been here before, you've seen this notebook quite a bit. This is a bullet journal. You can see that it has definitely been used. It's from Scribbles That Matter, and I'm going to walk you through it. This is not going to be a how to create a journal or how I do my journal. It's actually going to be what happens when you're ending a journal and you didn't complete it. Like, is it okay to just stop? So I started this in May of 2021. At the beginning of my yearly stats, I didn't even do anything. I did go back and start in January of 2021, even though I didn't get this until May. I went back and added everything in. This, which I glossed over, this is just the key, and these are all the genres that I usually read, and so I figured each of my books could fit into these genres. So that's what that is. Okay, so like I said, I did the index one time for January, and I was gonna put these little stickers that match this washi tape on the side so that I knew where I was turning, and I didn't do that at all. Okay, then I have this page that was going to be for my yearly stats. Now this is 2021 yearly stats. We're going to go here. So clearly that did not happen. I don't even know why the sticky note's still here. I'm taking it off. I had some things written down that I thought I was going to do. I did not. So this begins January. Again, I put the washi tape here thinking that I would have a theme for each month. That also did not happen. What did happen though is that I consistently, from January to December of 2021, wrote down every book that I read and the author and my rating and how I read it and how many pages it was. And then this is whether I posted it on Goodreads and made a review about it. So I did this for the whole year of 2021, including printing out the pictures and putting them in here. So if you guys saw any of my videos, you saw me do all of this. So I'm gonna skip because it all looks exactly the same until we get right here. So this is the end of September and the beginning of October is where that blue line is. And then you'll see the difference right here. I started printing them a little bit bigger, and I definitely did not have, like, this is what it looked like the month before. Everything has a space and everything gets highlighted based on its genre, and then October is just chaos. It's like I just needed to get all the books down here, but I started printing them out bigger because I started doing the Kanban board where I was moving the actual pictures of the books down, and that worked for a couple of months. But this, I don't like looking at this at all. Like, this does not look good to me. It just looks like chaos and I don't like it. But I kept doing this. This is the end of October, the beginning of November. November, they're all larger, but still they have to overlap because for some reason I only want to use 2 pages. I'm not allowing myself to use more than 2 pages. So then we get to the end of November and the beginning of December. And I just went ahead and squeezed everything down onto these pages so that I didn't have to start a new page since December was the end of the year. And you'll see everything has more room because I just used more pages. So I spread everything out, I put it all in here, and I finished the whole year. This whole first part is all of 2021, every book I read in here. Then we move into 2022, and I had all these wonderful plans of what I wanted to do. My 2022, I know you've seen this. It starts out with all my NPR challenges, and these are the books that I read for the NPR challenges. Tales from Around the World, I read all of these, and this is as far as I've gotten. Now that doesn't mean I'm not going to read more of these, but I had more fun creating these spreads than I had putting these pictures in them, if that makes any sense. Like, I would probably rather have smaller areas where I can just write the name of the books in here instead of having to print these out, because we moved and I still don't have my computer set up with my printer. So every time I look at this, I think, I'm gonna have to figure out how to get that printer linked up that's no longer close by my office in order to print out any more of these of the book covers. So anyway, These are not done. These I didn't even get to this year yet. But I still like looking at the page, and I still loved creating the pages. Then I have the 100 Best Fantasy. And as you can see, I read 30 of them. And then I just stopped. And not because there's probably more of them that I've read. But I thought, why am I tracking these? Like, there's really not a reason other than I want to fill up this page with color. But that was it. So there's no reason for me to track these or to have this here. And so I just stopped. And this is what it looks like. The J.D. Robb books, I'm still reading. I still have more of these that I could mark off, but I'm not doing it once a week anymore like I was before. And I have a new plan to finish them all by the end of this year. So it's still going to work and happen, just not the way I originally planned it to. Then we have The Journey to the Dark Tower, which is an extended reading list for Stephen King's Dark Tower. And I just spent the last month reading 19 Stephen King books, and 2 of them go on this list. So I have to decide what I want to do. Like, do I want to keep doing this journey? Which I totally do, because I love the Dark Tower series. But do I need to track it in this kind of way? Because this was okay for me because I didn't have to print out the titles or the pictures like I did over here. I was just able to write in the words, which I liked. So I might continue something like that. Then we go to Tamara Pierce, and I was reading all of her catalog. Now, I don't know if I just counted wrong or what, but I literally have 4 books left to read for her, and there's way more than 4 squares on here. That being said, the 4 books that I have left to read for her, one of them is on audio and the other 3 are not. But they're all part of the same series, so I would really like to have them all on audio. However, a quick Google search tells me that these books will probably never be put on audio. So I have to decide what I want to do. I did roll to read Tamara Pierce's whole catalog, and I have not read the whole thing because there are 4 books left. What am I going to do about that? Then we have Stephen Graham Jones. I have read everything that I can read from Stephen Graham Jones that I can get my hands on without spending an exorbitant amount of money. And so now what do I do? Like, I'm just going to keep up with the new things that he's reading and maybe keep my eye out for the things that I can't afford right now. And as they come up, maybe I'll buy them. But I don't need this list. I don't need this. This I created and then immediately stopped using. Like, as soon as I created it, I was like, I'm not using this. So I've never touched it since January. Then we have, okay, well, let me talk about this. This is everything that I did for 2022. And I decided that instead of writing down every book, I would just do this section. So this is everything right here, 2022. Then sometime in the middle of 2022, somebody was sharing the Bookopoly board or a Bookopoly board and encouraging people to make their own. And I thought, this is genius because there's so many different things that I want to read. And I love this idea. If you guys were here, you saw that I have the tiny money and the tiny little dice that came with the tiny Monopoly board that I got from, I don't know, the Dollar Tree or something. And so that's what I was using to do this. And I did this for 2 months. And while I still love it, and I am definitely going to be moving this over to my new journal and doing it in there, it was hard for me to do because I was trying to make it too hard. Like, I was trying to have too many rules and too many things to do. And so when I redo it, which will be coming up in a future video, you will see what I have changed and what I've decided to do differently. But this is staying for 2023. Then, randomly, in May of 2022, I thought, let me start writing about each one of my books, and then I can use my stickers and I can use my pens and colorful things. And I loved this. I did this on a live. I think we were reading and I was listening to audiobooks and writing these out or filling these out. I didn't write this while I was listening, but I did this for these 2 pages and that's it. You can see the rest of them. I decided to put 3 on a page. I made everything smaller. I didn't go color it in, but I did put the books on here that I had printed out. And I stopped at number 12. This is in May again. And I wrote 13 here, and then I left space over here for 2 more pages of it, and that's it. Then I printed out this 2022 bingo card from Reddit that I was hoping to read all of these books, or at least read books that fit in all of these categories by the end of the year. Did I? Maybe. I've definitely read more than 25 books this year, so I could probably go through and find books that fit in all of these categories. I just don't know. I did come up with books, but have I read all of the books that I picked? No. So I don't know. I don't know. Then during the summer, because again, I did all of this around May, June time frame, right before I moved, somebody came up with the NetGalley Summer Bingo, and it's not somebody, it is Barb. I know that she does a TBR game that I really love, and so anyway, I really like her channel. She does a lot of cool stuff, but she came up with this to try to get people to read more on our NetGalley shelf, so I loved it. Did I do these things? Maybe, but I didn't fill any of it out. I just printed it out and put it in this notebook and never looked at it again. Then the same with this, and this is the last page in here. This came from Nicole at Dusty Book Sniffers. She did these 2 printable things, which are all the countries that she's reading books from. And so I just took her printout and put it in here, and I was going to decorate around here and read books from every country in the world. Did I do this? Again, probably some of them, but I didn't check anything off. And that is the end. Then I have a couple of like scratch pages back there, and that's it. So now I am on a blank page that looks like this, and I still have this much of my journal left, and I'm going to put it away. I know that something like this is probably hard for a lot of you to go, wait, you still have a lot of pages left in this book. Why are you done? And part of the reason is I don't want to pick this book up anymore because it feels incomplete. And so it makes me feel like there's stuff that I'm missing that I haven't done yet. So I don't want to get rid of this book because I love that in 2021, I literally have every single book that I read and my ratings for them in here. And that is very rare for me to do something for the whole entire year. So I am taking these things that I've learned from the last 2 years and how I did my reading journal and what I learned from it. And I am going to be incorporating all of that into what happens in the next one. And I just wanted to go through this one last time as like a final thank you to this journal and for everything that it's done. It's been fantastic. I will say I have another book journal on the way, but I've also started using a larger bullet journal. So just in general, it's a lot bigger. So moving forward, I will be using the bigger one anyway instead of this. But I also just wanted to say that if you start something and you decide that you don't like the way you were doing it, or you just don't want to do it anymore, you don't have to keep doing it. Like, all of this is supposed to be fun. It's the same thing with DNFing books. If you're reading a book and you're like, oh, I don't want to pick up that book, and you start dreading the fact that you have to pick up a book and read it, you don't have to. Nobody is forcing you to read the books. Now, I guess if you signed a contract saying that you would review a book, maybe you need to complete that book. But for most of us, that's not a thing that we have to worry about. So I am just here to say that changing your mind and not completing things doesn't mean anything. Progress is still progress. They say that on a lot of goal videos. I just know that the things that I did in here for 2022, even though it's not completed, have given me insight and information for what I'm going to use going forward in the way I track books and the way I do all of that. And so anything that does that, that gives you information about what happens later in your life, or gives you information about yourself and the things that you like and the things that you dislike, it's all good. It's all still good. So the next time you're like, I'm never going to start anything because I don't finish it, maybe you just have to find the thing that you like. And if that means we start 20 different types of tracking systems for our books before we find the one, then that's what it means. And for me, what worked for me in 2021, maybe I should have stuck with that for 2022. And maybe I'll go to something similar to that in 2023. I haven't set up my 2023, so I don't really know how it's going to go. But you guys will see it next month. So until then, read what you want to read, track what you want to track, and use a journal or not. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.